The Perth Amboy waterfront has faced many challenges. With pollution from sewage and more, the waterfront has come a long way. The conditions of the water were not well. The color was nowhere near blue, and the waterfront inherited the nickname Mahone Bay just from the smell, which means poop bay in English.
Well, I'll even go back further to the 27 years ago when I started here. It was much, much dirtier than it is now. The city had not taken care of the sand on the beaches, and they had pretty much washed away most of the sand. There was a lot of garbage on the sand. People treated it more as a dump than as a place to go and enjoy nature. The water also had a very strong, like a chemical petroleum kind of odor to it. You actually see oil slick, and it was very cloudy. You had a lot of stuff mixed in with it. It wasn't clean and clear. Ways that it's improved, the water's a lot cleaner. There is little to no smell in the water anymore of the chemicals and petroleum. You just get the nice, salty, oceany smell coming out of it, which is a lot of it is due in part to cleanup efforts further upstream on the Raritan River. There's also an EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, has a Superfund site upstream that was part of a landfill at one time that went into and leaking a lot of toxins and garbage into the water. That has been remediated or cleaned up, which has stopped a lot of the pollutants from leaking into the river. Also, the county of Middlesex and the city of Perth Amboy have made many upgrades to the shoreline. A lot of the dirty sand was removed and replaced with clean sand. It's not as rocky and chunky as it was before. It's nice, clean, fine sand. The protective jetties were rebuilt that stick out into the water to help prevent erosion during storms. And there's also more manpower and time into patrolling the beaches and keeping them clean. And I've also noticed it seems like a lot more of the residents who live in town, especially down by the waterfront, are making a more conscious effort to keep the waterfront looking nice so that people do come to the city and do go down there, which improves the quality of life for everyone in the city. Before Sandy hit, there wasn't really a lot of money or funding to put into cleaning up the waterfront. But I remember reading that after Sandy came through, the government released a lot of funds to shore towns to help clean up the storm's aftermath. And because the waterfront was damaged during the storm, a lot of the money went into repairing the waterfront. So the money was available to do things that should have been done before the storm. But since the storm came and ruined a lot of things, the money was then available to then do the work afterward. So it's not like they were able to do it right because they had the funding and the time to do it. It was a tremendous plus for the environment because it shows that the health of the ecosystem is improving. Seals will follow their food stock of fish, and if the fish follow plankton and insects, which is what they eat. So if the water health was poor, there'd be no plankton in the water in the bay, and there'd be no fish. And if there's no fish, then there's no seals. So this shows that the water is healthier to where it's got a normal amount of plankton and small fish the larger fish eat, and then the seals follow that as their food source so they can come into the bay as well. So it's a good thing to show that the water quality has improved enough where life is returning back to the way it was prior to humans, making it dirty and messy.
After some years and the termination of the sewage disposal in the water, the bay's health began to restore. The water turned dark blue and animals like seals have been spotted. Both of those have been significant evidence of the water's health.
To reduce the impact on the pollution, be mindful of what you do with your trash and make sure you dispose of things properly. Pay attention to your surroundings. If you see something or know something that's a problem and causing a problem, speak up and say something. Ask the owner of the company or the business to, try to change what they're doing. If they're not going to listen, go a little higher up in the chain. Try to change your habits to reduce the amount of waste that you generate in the first place. Buy things in bulk, not in individual packaging. Recycle more. The town has a good recycling program where they recycle pretty much everything, cardboard, aluminum, plastic. Make sure you use that as much as possible. use alternatives to harsh chemicals. Don't buy the really caustic, nasty chemicals that go down the drain. Use things that are more natural, safer environmental alternatives to that. You can choose where your electric it comes from through the electric company, and choose companies that are more environmentally responsible and more environmentally friendly, and request that if they're not, request that they change and become more environmentally friendly. Because if enough consumers do speak up, then change can happen. So your voice is strong. So if you see something that's wrong, say something. The optimist in me says yes, I think it will, but it's going to take a very long time. It won't happen in my lifetime. It may happen in yours or your children's lifetime. It will take many generations. Because we all know that it's easy to make a mess, but it's more harder to clean up a mess and time consuming. For too long, humans have made messes that have not been cleaned up, and many of the people who are responsible for making those messes and damaging the environment aren't here anymore. They've passed away or they've moved on, but their legacy is still here, and we are having to deal with it now. And there are still people out there who believe that we have not caused a change in the climate, but science is showing that yes, the climate has fluctuated over history, but it's taken a much longer time. Because of our intervention with pollution, we have sped up the process. What might have taken 1,000 years to cause a change in the climate, we've done in 100 years. So it's accelerated because of human activity. And even if we were to stop today producing all pollution, just 100% stop everything, there's still enough out there in the environment that damage will continue for many more decades to come until it can be cleaned up. So, do I think it can be done? Yes, but it's going to take a very long time. It's going to be very expensive. It's going to be painful because people have to change the way they live and change how they do things. And it might not be the popular thing to do, but in the long run, it's the thing that should be done. I love this kind of a question. To an extreme, which I hope it never gets this bad, I'm sure you've seen the movie WALL-E, the Disney movie WALL-E, where humans have to leave the planet because we've trashed it so much, and they leave behind robots to try to clean up everything. And this little robot goes around compacting the trash and building huge structures out of the garbage. Could that happen? Sure, it most definitely could. I don't think that's that much of a far-fetched fantasy. We've seen it happen in places already where there's so much garbage that nothing can grow anywhere. And it's getting that, hopefully it won't get to the extreme that the movie had it in. But if we don't do something now to stop producing more garbage and more pollution, it could end up like that. Pollution sucks the life out of the environment. If something is dirty, it doesn't get cleaned up in enough time, people look at it and go, it's already dirty, so what's the big deal? I'll make it dirtier, kind of thing. So we are a huge part of the environment, and if it gets sick and dies, eventually so will humans, because we need the environment to survive.
Water pollution is a serious issue, and with this information, people should go out and learn how they can help the environment.